Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today we are going to read Colossians 3:15, which says, "Let the peace of God, to which also you are called in one body, rule in your hearts, and be thankful." And here's really letting the peace of God rule is key. And here's why. Because if you are ruled by the peace of God, you're not ruled by your emotions. You're not ruled by a spirit of fear. You're not ruled by the spirit of depression. Can those things still try to creep in? Obviously, yes, because we are still flesh and we do have many, many flaws, myself included, many flaws. But if we let that peace rule instead of our emotions, it's going to be easier to deal with the circumstances that we find ourselves in, or sometimes put ourselves in, let's be honest. And it's going to be easier to work our way through them and out of them because we have that peace of God to know that everything is going to be okay and God is with us. And we just have nothing but thanks for that. Honestly, we should have nothing but thanks for that, because without God walking with us, life is so much harder. So much harder. And honestly, a lot of us have to learn that the hard way. I could say it until I'm blue in the face, but most people are going to have to learn that the hard way. And I'll be honest, that was me. But back to letting the peace of God rule over your life. I want to give you an example here from my life. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have been struggling this week emotionally and mentally. And these videos really have helped me through the week, helped me, to get out of the emotions that I was feeling for, a few minutes, and have reminded me of, the peace and the love and the joy that God can bring even in our darkest times. And while I definitely have seen darker days for sure, this week was a struggle. Yesterday actually marked 2 years since we lost my grandfather. And then my other grandfather, his 2-year death anniversary is coming up in a couple weeks. 2021 was a rough year. November of 2021 was a rough month. But I was really struggling with some massive waves of grief just crashing over me all week this week. And, as long as I kept myself busy doing something, I was fine. But as soon as I had a quiet moment, a peaceful moment to just sit, that wave completely overtook me. And I did a lot of crying this week, I'm not gonna lie. And pretty sure I scared the crap out of my son Wednesday night with, some of the emotions I was feeling. And I try really hard to keep that, separate so that he doesn't feel like he needs to, try to regulate or fix, because he is my son. And we both tend to want to fix things. But, that's just something that I've been dealing with this week, is those waves of grief just coming and coming and coming. And yes, there were times in those peaceful moments that even when I was crying and I knew why I was crying, and like Wednesday night, I'm trying not to do it now. Wednesday night, all I wanted to do was hear my grandpa's voice. That's it. I just wanted to hear his voice. And I was frustrated because through the years, I've had a habit of, if, someone leaves me a voicemail, I listen to it and I delete it, because I don't like to see all those voicemails just sitting in there, even if they're already listened to. But I was really kicking myself, and I've kicked myself quite a few times over the last couple of years for deleting those voicemails, because he used to leave me voicemails quite often, because he would call while I was working or call while, I was doing something with my son and couldn't get to the phone right away. So he'd just leave me a little, 30-second message. Hey, Amanda, Joe, Grandpa here, and I can still hear his voice in my mind, but I really was struggling with the fact that I couldn't hear his voice, just to hear his voice, other than, what I remembered it being in the back of my mind. And so I was going through some emails because I remembered shortly after he passed, I was telling my mom how I was kicking myself, for deleting those voicemails. And she said, you know what? Your brother sent me one that he still had or still has. So I'm going to send that to you. So she did. She sent that to me and I saved it in my email. And I have gone back and listened to it a few times over the last couple of years. And so I pulled it up and I listened to it probably 4 or 5 times because it was just so nice to hear his voice again. And, while I was in the midst of that wave of grief and that sadness that this was the only way that I could hear his voice, I still had that peace of God in my heart. And it really has helped me this week. I've been able to feel my emotions without letting them control me because I have that peace of God. And I am so thankful for the peace of God. And I am so thankful for those little things like that email with, the voicemail attached to it, and some videos I have that I've watched quite a few times this week, of my son and grandpa playing together when my son was little, having their spatula sword fights and playing Monopoly, basically rolling the dice and moving the characters around the board without doing anything else. But I was able to cherish those this week, and I've been able to cherish those quite a bit, but knowing that I would have handled that so much differently just a few years ago. A few years ago, I would have felt those waves of grief coming and crashing over me, and I would have drowned in them. But I have learned to live in the peace of God and let the peace of God rule over my heart, and to be thankful for the things that I have, and to be thankful for my relationship with God. So it's been so much easier to yes, feel my emotions, but not let them rule over my life. And so, sorry, I'm trying really, really hard not to let those fly. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I know we've run a little longer today than usual, but I really wanted to share that with you today. And I really hope that you will take that to heart and let the peace of God rule over your heart, and just be thankful for his peace and his comfort and his joy and the relationship that you get to have with him, and to be thankful for all of the people that he's put in your lives and all of the things that he's provided for you, all of the ways that he's provided different things for you. Just take that time, especially over the next week, to be thankful. And if you still have your grandparents, go give them a hug. Have a great day, guys. I'm not sure what next week holds as far as videos are concerned. I'm just gonna, be in a holiday week. Sometimes things get hectic. So I will post as I can. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. If I don't get a chance to post beforehand, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your family. Give everybody a hug. Tell them you love them. And take lots of pictures, because someday that's all you're going to have. Have a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.